It never gets better. You always think parenting is gonna be better soon.
You guys already know.
You always think parenting is gonna be better soon. And maybe that's what keeps us crazy people going.
I actually think that the thing that keeps you crazy people going is that you now have a living being to take care of because you didn't put enough thought into what parenting might be like. Because in this video, this guy goes through what he's already experienced as a parent and what he anticipates experiencing as a parent, now that his son is a teenager. But none of the things that he seems shocked by would be a shock to anyone who gave a smidgen of thought to what parenting is. Let's take a look.
We get like that 0 to 3 where it's just a bunch of poopy diapers.
Yeah, babies poop. They have a multi-millennia track record of doing so. And unless you expected your baby to be the first one born with fine motor skills, you are gonna be the one cleaning it up.
Like, wow, if I can just get a full night's sleep, things are gonna be amazing.
See, I don't really get lying to yourself like this. And I'm not saying that parenthood can't be enjoyable, but it doesn't take being a parent to know that most phases aren't going to be fixed or be amazing just by getting a few nights good sleep.
But then the next phase, they're just getting into everything, they're breaking stuff.
Yep, kids break stuff. Again, millennia-long track record of them doing this. Invest in some shelves, you really can't claim that you were unaware of this. And if you didn't prepare for it, you really only have yourself to blame.
And you're like, dude, if I could just get this kid to calm himself down, we'll be good.
I think this is the most mystifying part of this video. People love to say that child-free people just don't get kids, and if we did, we would want them. But this guy spends the entire video wishing that his child isn't the way that his child is. As a child-free person who has spent a lot of time around children, you should expect them to be loud, messy, excitable, talkative. That's part of being a kid. And if all you want is to get your kid to calm down, parenting might not be for you. And I'm not trying to be on my high horse here. I would also want my child to calm down. And that's why I'm not going to be a parent, because it's unfair to ask your kid to rein in their personality to cater to your preferred amount of stimuli.
Then you get to the next phase and it's like, will you take me into this like birthday party with all my friends? And you're like, oh my god, if I could just get through this phase.
So you're annoyed that your kid has friends and wants to spend time with them? Would you prefer they stay locked in their room day and night? And also, how many birthday parties could there possibly be? Like, I may not have kids, but I was a kid once. I also find it interesting that when a fertile, child-free person decides not to use their fertility, they're told, there are people who would kill to have your fertility, you need to use it. But like, parents who complain like this aren't told, people would kill to have a child, let alone a child who's able-bodied and has friends. And before I go any further, I know I'm going to get tons of comments being like, he's just complaining. Parents are allowed to complain. Absolutely they are. Again, I'm not having kids because I know it's hard, and I have zero problems with venting. What I have a problem with is someone with a large following venting on an international platform. This guy has almost 450,000 followers. This particular video has over 1 million views. And in the video, he gives his child's name, sex, and age. So even if he has multiple children, there is no ambiguity about which one he's talking about. If you're having a tough parenting day and you want to FaceTime your best friend or your mom or you're in therapy, and you want to be like, let me tell you about the thing my asshole son did today, go for it. Venting can be helpful, but do you need to vent to your hundreds of thousands of followers? Did your son give you permission to use all these anecdotes? No, he didn't, because he's a minor and he can't consent. And also, his son is 13, not 3. Even if his son doesn't have a TikTok or his dad has blocked him from seeing the dad's videos, do you really think not a single one of his friends will come across that video and share it with the son? With that many followers and that many views, there's no way that someone that son knows did not see the video. And it's just as unlikely that they didn't show it to him. And if my parent made a video like this about me when I was 13, I would be devastated, especially given the way that he mocks his son. Like, even if it's an exaggeration, as a 13-year-old, that's hurtful. If his son came home and said that someone at school was talking about him like this, the dad would not be okay with that. Why is it okay for the dad to do it on an international platform?
Now I've got a teenager, and you know, now he thinks he's cooler than me.
He probably is.
I go to wake him up this morning, he has a guitar next to his bed. Landon, it's time to wake up.
Oh good, one of those people who sings randomly. You are so quirky and funny. Maybe that's why your kid thinks he's cooler than you.
Like, as soon as my thumb hits the string, he's like, put my guitar down! I got deeply offended, because I'm just, like, trying to be fun. It's like, ah! What a dick! That's what parenthood is.
Why don't you want kids? Kids are amazing. You'll never know a love like this. My life had no meaning until I became a parent and would sneak off to my car and make videos complaining about my son.
And I'm thinking in my head, like, man, we can just get through this, but then it's gonna be like, Dad, buy me a car! Dad, can I have some money for gas, bro?
Okay, so, if you don't want to buy your kid a car or pay for gas, don't do it. And since your kid is only 13, perhaps now is the time to start discussing with him that he should not expect you to buy a car for him or pay for gas. Plenty of teenagers do those things themselves. And if you tell him now, he'll have plenty of time to save up his money. Don't complain about a problem you have the power to prevent in the first place.
Dad, bro, like, can you co-sign my college loans, bro? Dad, I need to get bailed out, bro. Bro, I'm getting married, like, do you, like, want to stroke a check, bro? Dad, I want to buy a house, can I get, like, a little bit of scotch, bro?
If you don't want to do those things, say no. I don't get why so many parents act like their children have a gun to their head at all times and are forcing their parents to do things. And this doesn't apply to this situation, but it's especially weird when people say it about a toddler, because they do all the time. Like, your kid is 2. Pick them up and move them. Stop acting like they have you at knife point. But also, whether you say yes or no, your kid asking these questions should be expected. Like, do parents go into parenting only thinking like 2 years ahead? Because when I was considering whether or not I wanted to have kids, I looked like 60 years into the future. I thought about all the hours my parents spent driving me to and from rehearsal, all the time they spent waiting in theater lobbies and doctor's offices, all the times they woke up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday so that I could go to swim practice. And then I thought, I don't want to do any of that shit. I would hate it, and I would resent my child for that. And since I didn't think it would be fair to lock my kids in a room for 18 years, I decided to avoid all of that boredom and resentment. I understand that society, when talking about parenting, often cuts out the non-Kodak moments, but it's not hard to predict what those less desirable moments would be. Just look at your childhood from your parents' perspective. And yes, obviously things are a little different now, but in general, do you like waiting around a lot? Do you like having constant noise? Do you like listening to an 8-year-old scratch out Go Tell Aunt Rhody on their string instrument really, really badly?
And it's gonna be like, Dad, can you, like, watch all my kids, bro?
Don't worry, after he inevitably sees your rant, I don't think your son is going to have a lot to say to you. People in the comments of the original video have told me time and time again that this is a joke. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is. But imagine you are his child watching this video, as a 13-year-old who not only doesn't know how to regulate his emotions yet, but is also in the throes of puberty. This kid is most likely a hormonal mess, and if he's not, he will be soon, because that's what happens when your children grow up. Again, another easy thing to plan for. So, looking at it from the child situation, how do you think you would feel? Because if you're gonna parent, you need to think about how everything you do could affect your kid. I also think it's super weird that people make comments like this. If the reason that you had kids is so the kids that you hated raising can give you grandkids, that's really gross. Stop. Do not have kids. Like, what if your kids don't want kids? Then this was like all for naught. Just in general, if your reason for having kids is so that they can meet one of your goals,
Then I'm gonna die of old age.
But at least those kids that you can't stop complaining about will be right there holding your hand as you die, right?